But yeah, I think it's really important to not be afraid to go in dark zone as well. Like if you want something good, don't be on the surface of your brain. Go where is your pain, like your deepest pain in your life. Like for example, your father did die when you were super young. Don't be afraid to go into that if you want to be a good writer. And of course, what was the moment that you were the most happy? You know, I think that writing is like acting. When you look to an actor and they ask them the question, "Oh, did you cry?" Well, the actor will say, "I was not thinking of the scene, what was happening with the characters, and I don't give a shit. I'm not affected. That's fiction. But I was thinking what my father died 2 years ago of cancer." And that's the same thing with writing a story. You need to go and do those deep moments that will put you in stress. If you stay in
No, I
surface and
agree.
you just like punching bad guys and stuff like that, it's won't be good, and it's not your book at some point because you did not put your blood into those pages.
Yeah, you have to put your pain and your tears and your happiness all into it to make you read the book and fall in love and feel that character's pain. You have to hit things that you're pulling out of your heart and pouring onto the page. And a lot of times it's things that you, I, everybody, your readers can relate to. You know, the
Totally.
pain of loss, love, suffering, love lost, you know, heartbreak. These are all things that you need to learn, and you'll learn as you do it and get better at it, but you need to learn how to harness as you're in there writing the character. You need to make it real. You need to you need to hit these points home. And if you can do that as a writer, I mean, that's the game, right? That's
Right.
the game. The man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Roditeli, with the most Italian French last name I've ever heard.
It's actually it's actually not my real name, dude. It's pretty funny. My real name is Kevin Parent, but here in Canada we got Kevin Parent that was a singer, same name as me. And he got in the Me Too movement, so I was like, fuck, I don't want to be associated to that guy when someone Googled my shit, you know? So I was like, oh, I gotta be Roditeli. So that's the origin of the thing. It's not be like into the Me Too situation that is not mine. So that's kind of weird and funny, so.
Yeah, you don't want to, that's the last place you want to be associated with some piece of crap who's out there doing bad things. Where did Roditeli
Right.
come from? Did you just throw a dart on a board and pick it, or does it have any other meaning?
It's actually parent in Russia. So in Russian. So I did Google Translate like what was the language with the coolest parent, and it was actually the Russian, and it sounds super Italian, so it's kind of funny.
That's good. That's funny because parent is kind of a word that it's not like a name, like I can't even think
Right.
of one at the moment, but it's a word that's used to, you know, it's your parents, it's the people who gave birth
Right.
to you, so you can find that meaning across languages. So that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah,
I've
it
done
was
that
super
when I've
easy.
been trying to come up with character names or a race of. I'm working on something where I'm writing these mythical creatures. So I was trying to think of a name for them, and I would go on Google Translate. I think I ended up going with the Hindi version of animal, because they're magical animals. So I typed in animal, and I was just searching for a nice, beautiful name, and I came up with Jantu, which I believe is the Hindi version of animal. So it's a good way to come up with titles and other characters and names.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if you've done that before, but man, I definitely wanted to talk to you for a while now. I remember when I first kind of started seeing your name pop up. It was years ago. I think it was as a publisher more so than a writer. So congratulations on starting out. It seemed like your goal has been to be some kind of a publisher of small press and grow the publishing business.
Yeah, my idea was actually to be a publisher and publish my own stuff as well, because I really love to have the control and of course make more money on my shit. so there is no better way than being your own publisher, and of course explore the publishing venue as well, because I'm not someone that want to release like 20 EPs as a writer at the same time like a lot of writers do. That's not my type. I prefer to focus on one thing and after move to the other one, and the reason why is just simple. Like, take time to develop your shit and not just like push stuff and like just I see too many creators doing this. It's their strategy, but mine is not that. It's just more to focus on something and give the chance to the market to explore it. And by publishing other stuff, it's give me the chance as well to, well, develop a bigger audience because I can take the audience from my other creators, because marketing is all about robbing from other person at some point. That's what you're doing right now with the podcast. You're taking the audience of the creators that come to your show, and that's the same thing with publishing, you know. So if you're part of a publishing company, you for example, you go with, I don't know, Image Comics. They just released a big #1, and you are the creator that start with a #1 the next month. Your order will really increase because Image just got the attention from a big creator with another series. So it's the same thing I'm doing with my own publishing strategy. Just like, oh, okay, I released my own stuff, but we just got a big series that will push my own stuff as well. So, and I'm doing on another scale what everyone is doing without saying it. It's I guess, but and also I love publishing. It's kind of super fun to explore the market and test stuff and really to develop. And to be honest, since I'm not someone, like I said, I want to be doing 25 series at the same time because I'm not working like that creatively and marketingly speaking. It's given me the chance to live from comics and develop my businesses and be produce books and go further in the business of comics and entertainment while doing my own stuff as well.
No, that's a great point, and how you laid that out, as you know, it's helping you build your own, build your business. You're building yourself. It's similar to what we're doing here with the podcast and the interviews. Is to, nowadays, content is king, right? So aside from the writing, creators need to start trying to focus, in my opinion, on, you know, putting some kind of other content out, whether it's videos, whether it's, you know, TikTok, dancing, you know, whatever it is, we need to focus on it. And starting a, you know, smaller publishing company, Happy Tank, which I think it might have started as, I remember there was almost a Pokeball looking logo, and that's all I remember from seeing you back in the day.
That was my first publishing company that we did sell to a guy in Israel. I don't know what he is doing with the company right now, but that was the first company I did with Rod Cannon, like in 2016, 2017. And after we took a break from publishing because we lost so much money with it, so we're like, fuck that shit, and we will come back later when we'll have found the way to make it that makes sense. And we did really learn the market with that company. All the mistake has been done, and now we are in the path that we understood what we were. And now we have Happy Tank, which is an imprint we just launched with Behemoth Comics. So our first title was our own, Freak Snow. The second one was MFKZ that just sold 40,000 copies on the #1. And we are going with our third series right now in the previous catalog, Cinnamon #1, which is a crazy crazy cat that walk around an apartment and believe that his human owner is a kaiju. So it's kind of a really funny book.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way as far as making mistakes and learning from them. You know, how you mentioned Rats and Crows, that was your first attempt at doing the work, and you know, we make the mistakes early on, and that's the most important thing, is to keep going, right? I mean, especially as creators, you're not going to have a beautiful masterpiece overnight. You know, it's going to take years.
And there is nothing more important than actually admitting that you did fail. Yeah, failing is part of success. If you don't fail, or if you think that you don't fail, you just don't see it, and you're lost in your ego. And that's the problem of a lot of people that will not grow in any entertainment industry, or just as an entrepreneur, or anywhere in life. If you don't admit that you fail all the time and every day, you will never be successful. Or if you are, you're really lucky, because that's not how the Matrix works. So it's really important to have some ego check, because I know any creators and anyone that want to share with the world their brain, because it's already fucking weird if you are a human being saying, hey, I want to share what's inside of that with other humans. You already have some mental issues. We all have. So it's really important to do some ego checks sometime. Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I think you have to have something. I mean, to think we can go out there and tell stories to the world, like, you know, you have to, there has to be something inside of you that A, is a little twisted, but B, is kind of a creative drive that can't be silenced until we just do the work. And the work in the beginning is not as good as it is now, and it's not as good as it will be 10 years from now. But another key is I think not being afraid to fuck up and make the mistakes, you know, and just keep going. You know, take the lumps, keep moving forward if inside that's what you want to do.
Oh yeah, you need to lose money, you need to lose your mind, you need to lose your wife, you need to lose your house, you need to lose your car, and after you're gonna be successful. That's all.
Maybe, and then just or take a shortcut and like cut one of your ears off, right?
Yeah. It's maybe a better idea.
Man, Happy Tank. How did that come from you guys doing a solo to landing with Behemoth, who's been slowly but surely taking over? At least my Facebook feed, like you guys are blowing up, doing daily, weekly video chats, this, that, and the other thing, and then Happy Tank landing MFKZ, which is just a massive IP. I mean, I threw like 3 or 4 different questions, but I'm interested, and I think it'd be a cool story to hear how it all came about.
So after me and Rob did stop publishing, we wanted to focus on creating an IP, and I had this IP of Freak Snow for a while, which was inspired by my hate of Canadian winter and my love for video games like Fallout and Borderlands, and we did put that in a blender, and Freak Snow is born. And so we did pitch that first book to Behemoth Comics. They did, like in 2 seconds, accept the submission and be like, oh yeah, we want this, it's super cool. And I did get on a call with Nathan, and it's the kind of relationship that you know after 2 seconds that you're going to be, it's going to work, and it's going to be a great partnership, and just felt, we, you know, kind of fell in love professionally at that point. And I told them, well, me and Rob, we are actually developing right now a producing company, and I'm pitching you our schedule and our titles that are coming up because I'm really interested to work with you. And to be honest, like we were starting from the start, and Behemoth was blowing up at the moment that they were picking up my book. So it was just, for me, it was just interesting and it was intelligent to just say, hey, do you want an imprint? We have this coming up. Those licenses are already signed, and that's what we're gonna do. So Behemoth did absent, and they're the best in the world because we will not be doing those numbers without them right now. So, and they did actually cover everything that I hate about publishing, which is the printing, the distribution, and stuff like that. And I think that so they are dealing with that and helping us with structuring the company and stuff like that. So it's cool that as a company we have a partner like that for our distribution, and they're the best. So I have nothing bad to say about them, and they've been
they seem awesome. Yeah, and your books seem to fit right in with their catalog of just, I mean, to me, action packed. You know, in your face artwork. It's just awesome. It's cool to see.
Yeah, totally. So they are mostly focusing with their brand on horror, black and white stuff, and they got some really artsy stuff. And on our side, we are more packed with action, with some cartoon-ish style of artwork. We love freaks, so all the weird characters, we want them in the books. And so what's cool as well is that we are different, but at the same time really similar in the type of content. So anyone that loves Behemoth is going to love our stuff, and vice versa. So that's the idea, that each imprint of Behemoth, from what I heard, the guys' direction are that they want something different and unique, that gonna be a different appeal for readers, you know.
Yeah. How did you have the licensing deal with MFKZ prior, or is that something that Behemoth, or it was in the works before you landed there?
Yeah. So that was before Behemoth. Actually, I was in contact with Guillaume Saint-Gelais, which is one of the creators at Label 619, which is the French publishing company owned by Ron, the creator of MFKZ. And I just wrote to Guillaume and was like, "Hey man, could you put me in contact with Ron? I would really like to put out MFKZ in the US." And they had like a licensing company dealing with the rights and shit, and he said to me, like, oh, in 6 months, come back. We gonna have like a negotiation with the right companies, and at that time we could sign you directly, and you won't have like to deal with all the lawyers and and the crazy right stuff that are too expensive all the time. And so we were just at the right moment, at the right timing, and we did make it happen. And now it's super cool to be in collaboration with Label 619, and we are bringing titles, more titles to come as well.
That's huge. That's a big move. That's one of those, there's that phrase, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So If you
Right.
didn't reach out to Behemoth, if you didn't reach out to them about the imprint, if you didn't reach out to Run, I mean, nothing's going to happen. So we take these
Right.
chances, and we should try
That
and make these
that
moves because, anything could happen. What's the worst? They
totally.
say no?
Right, that's something I say always to creators when they ask. Like, I get some message like you or anyone that create for a while, like from new creators that say, "Hey, where do I start?" And my answer most of the time is just like, you should not have like 20 pitch right now and shooting to everyone. First of all, publishers don't like creators that, or actually me, I will speak for myself because I don't know every publishers, but I'm not a fan of creators that I know that pitch everywhere the same books and don't have like a publisher in mind when they send the books. It's just like they don't even know if it fits your catalog because they did not check your catalog actually, and they just send it. Hey, I'm publishing that, and you know that they did send it that generic email to 20
You got to do
publishers
your
at the same
homework,
time.
sure.
Right. So, and that's the problem because publishers knows after that you have this etiquette of the creators that send to everyone and just don't is not a team worker because working with a publisher, it's teamwork as well. If the creator is not involved in the promo and stuff like that, it will really look on the sales, and other publishers see it as well because sales numbers are public. So Image Comics will know that your last series that has been published by 20 different publishers did not do well because you're just shooting everywhere and you're not promoting and not sticking with a team and really focusing on developing something with someone's in a publisher to just grow your audience with them, you know.
Well, it's a small industry, right? And
It is.
publishers learn quickly who's reliable and who's easy to work with and who's not.
Totally. Even if you're a new names, you know, it's so small that people know you in a fraction of 2 weeks. So,
Oh yeah, you could ruin your reputation by being an asshole pretty quickly, or just being somebody who isn't willing to do the work.
totally. And something important, I know I did go somewhere with the question, and that was not really the question.
Okay.
but something really important is actually ask to everyone. There is nothing more important in business than just like ask anything. Like, if you want to do a license, if you want to do something, contact. Find the emails, contact. The worst case scenario, they will not reply. They won't give a fuck about your demand. And that's the worst thing that can happen to you, honestly. And that's fine. You know, in business, probably, like, for example, I sent 100 emails per week. Well, if there is 10% of those emails that reply, it's mean that I have 10 opportunity in 1 week, which is already fucking huge when you think about it. And something important, like I think I said like 20 times in the interview so far, focus on one thing creatively at a time before going to your next one. Like really try to understand your market and build your market. That's the weirdest thing with creators, and I understand it because you're not necessarily entrepreneurs when you're a creator. For myself, I'm happy to have a connection with entrepreneurship and I have fun with it. I have as much fun doing entrepreneurial things than creating, and probably more. I love entrepreneur, and that's why I'm publishing as well. I love the business side of the industry. But something really important for creators that you need to have in mind, that when you create a book, you create a business. Every title is actually a brand, a business. So it's important that you also think of your marketing and promotion because it's part of the experience of the book as well. So
it'll be different with each book. Should be different. Yeah.
Totally, and if your marketing sucks or doesn't exist, it's not good for the experience of the book. Because, for example, on a music album, you got a rollout by the artist. You got to release some photo on Instagram that will put you in the mood of the series. You're gonna put a music video out that puts you again in the mood, and you put you a little single, which is a previews of the books in some ways. It's the same thing for comics. You should be putting people in your world before they get in your world, and yes. To be honest, this makes something 10 times better. Your book can sucks hard, and you did a really good promotion for the book. Well, it can come out as good to the public because they are really into you,
and they're
not BAs. And that's to be honest, that's probably 99% of the time when there is like a really average movie coming out from big studios, what they do, they put a lot on marketing and they show you how cool is it. They're gonna take a quote from a really not know website that says it's amazing, and they're gonna put that in the trailer, and you don't even know what's the source, but because someone said it's amazing, now you believe it's amazing. That's mind control, and
This
you should
guy
do
on
that
the
with
street
your book.
said it's amazing.
Yeah, wow, that's an amazing code. Like someone just said amazing, you know?
Chop it up.
Yeah, amazing. But they were saying it's amazingly bad, you know? But they just took the amazing.
It's amazing. ...
Right.
Have you sorry to cut you off. Have you sticking with the marketing and this whole aspect of promoting
Right.
your work prior to, let's say, launch or release in the direct market? Do you have a number in mind of the amount of months prior that you'll start trickling out artwork? Do you have it down like that, or do you just kind of go with the feel of, all right, now I start having little things to release, some teaser images. I'm going to start right as soon as I start getting these things in?
It's really dependent. For a Kickstarter, I will say the minimum is always like 3 months before the campaign, but 6 is probably the best that you start advertising. And I say 6 because most of the time creators that start on a first-time creator on Kickstarter, it's your first book, so you're building your personal brand as well. You don't have like a personal brand yet, so 6 months actually for building your personal brand and building your IP brand as well. So you're building two things. But
Right.
3 months before is probably the best thing to do, and it's probably the same thing for direct market because the solicitation for a book is 2 months before the release in the previous catalog. So you start advertising, and after you got the previous cut, and it's pretty much like a war, and you know it as well when the previews drop. It's a war with that motherfucking code, and you try to put it out as much as possible. But I will
Yep.
say like 3 months is probably the best, and before that, the information will get lost because it's too long. You know, everything goes so fast with the internet right now that it's people your pre-order and knowing the previews, for example, and even Kickstarter, like the last 88 hours and the first hours are always where everything happens. In the middle, there is nothing, and it's the same thing for promotion. In the middle, there is always nothing. You know, you will have something when you announce it, and at the end, and it's the same thing for previews orders. You know, shops. The shops, the retailers won't put the orders at the moment that the catalogs drop. They will put it at the end of the months because they are waiting for all the customers to come in and say, hey, I want this shit. And after they will put the order in consequence that, oh, if there is 3 person interested in the shop that share their interest, I will order 10 because I think those are retail readers that take similar books that could be interested as well. So stuff like that. So 3 months is probably the best way I would say.
I think 3 month
and,
minimum.
Yeah, minimum, yeah.
Yeah. And 6 months is a good build up, but that's also, especially in the social media game, I think the 6 month, the longer build up, which is what I may start to do with one of my newer series, is slowly, plan accordingly, right? I don't know if I'm going to go to the point where I'm putting out a spreadsheet or it might just be handwritten notes, but I'm going to try to do little teases each week with more of a major thing each month. And I don't know if it's going to be 6 months. Who knows what the number is? But like you said, we're going back to it, the minimum 3 months. And that'll slowly get the fan base going. It'll get your peers, fellow creators to see, oh, Kevin's doing something. He's on the move. Let's keep an eye out for his next project and so on. So I think that's great advice. And the social media game is tough as it is. You're always someone who struck me as good with I think you mentioned it before, the marketing or the social media game. Do you have a background in that, or is that just the hustle that you kind of see needs to be done and you go and do it?
Oh, I actually have a background in marketing. That's my, I would say, my day job before I get into comics. Now I'm full-time comics, but before I was in marketing. I did marketing for music labels. I did marketing for festivals, like I co-own a festival that's named Cosplay Fest. We have, when it's not COVID, we have 30,000 people coming out with cosplays, and just a big cosplay festival in Quebec.
It's awesome.
And I was also the marketing guy for a professional baseball team. So I did a lot of stuff in marketing field before being full-time comic book publisher and creator, So, and I have also a marketing company. That's my other business, which I'm more consultant now and some employees that work on it. So yeah, marketing is my life beside comics. So
Well, it's big, and it shows. So hats off to you, because it definitely shows. Because it's something that I struggled with in the past. I'm getting better at it now, in the last year or so. And I think creators don't think of the business side, or at least the marketing side, to stay on point when they start. We're creators. We want to write. We want to put content out there. We want to just get this crap that's building up in here, those demons down onto the page, right? And feel better about life. So the PR and the social media, that's something that just, it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, it's need to be done, and the reason why, just like, if there is no trailer to a movie, would you have watched a movie?
Or would
Probably
you know it was
not.
out, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing for comics. If there is no pre-roll before, all do you want people to read your shit? All do you want people to be interested in you? And that's something important. Comics books is a lot about creators as well. So it's important for as a creator that you show your journey, that you put people interested actually in your journey and who you are. It's your name on the book is actually what sold the book as well, especially in the indie scene. If you when you raise money as a creator, for example, on Kickstarter, people trust you. Don't trust your EP. You are the one that's gonna deal with the money. So it's important that they know to who they are giving their fucking paycheck. So it's important that you go out there, put your face. I hate people that put on Facebook, for example, as an avatar a photo of their artwork. I know the intention you have, but you are the person that people are going to give their money to. You need to, and we are in a world where people have a really big problem to be confident by giving their money online to people that they don't know, and that's why Amazon is huge, because Amazon is the place that you trust, and you don't. Right. And sometimes you don't go to smaller side that you should encourage and be like, oh, those guys probably like $1 more, but would I get that item? But on Amazon you will get that item, so you go on Amazon, and it's the same thing. And the same thing for indie creators. It's really important that you show that you are a real person behind those social media accounts, and that you have a personality, that you are someone, and you are someone at work to be supported. You are someone with dreams. You are someone with big inspiration, and with their money, you can realize your dream, and they are part of your journey. Understand that every people that drop a like on your post, that drop money to yourself, they are part of your fucking journey, and you want them to feel part of that fucking journey.
No, it's well said. I think that's important to hear and get across. Yeah, the personal brand is just like anything, any business. It's huge, but maybe even more so in creative fields. That's why I like to tell people to try and have the same picture, or try to have a picture of yourself if you can, if you're comfortable with it. Some people aren't, but I have that across social media platforms. I have the same picture. I have the same handle. That's why James E. Roach. I never use my middle initial, but for purposes of the brand. And easy to find, making yourself easy to find with the social media handles I created, at James E. Roach, jameseroach.com, across platforms. I think that's keeping it consistent, consecutive, is just going to make it easier for people to find you, everywhere they go as you start doing the work and creating more and, building your own brand. So that's good advice. How cool is it to sit back, though, now when you started from Rats and Crows to have Happy Tank with MFKZ, an imprint of Behemoth? I mean, I'm sure it's just the beginning. You've got other goals in mind, but do you try to take a step back and just soak it in every once in a while?
It's sure, but it goes so fast, man. We we have so many, with the Diamond thing that is monthly. We have like so many books, like right now in design preparation. I'm doing the marketing campaigns. I'm dealing with direct orders plus diamonds, plus stuff like that, and that's a good thing that we have Behemoth, because I don't know how we will be doing that all that without them right now. So I don't really have time to think right now. I don't have time to have free time actually to do some stuff. I'm the guy right now that just finished working at 11 midnight, open a movie for 15 minutes and sleep, on it. So I'm the same movie for a day right now, which is Red Dragon, the sequels to Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs, yeah.
Yeah, pretty good so far. I'm 15 minutes in.
It's been ages. I can't remember. It's been ages. But so you're turning it into like a into an HBO series, 15 minutes at a time.
Right, pretty much. Like I was a fan of QB actually. I don't know what it's close, but yeah, it goes so fast right now, and that's cool because we were not expecting such a big success. I mean, we did go really on ball into that. I would have been happy selling like 4,000 or 5,000 of every books every month, but right now it's our second month, and we sold over 60,000 books in 2 months. You know, with Happy Tanks, which is pretty freaking crazy for something I did release that as pre-order for 3 issues so far. You know, so I don't understand. I'm happy when I say I don't understand. You know, it's I don't understand. Thank you for everything, but we are catching up and being sure that everything is perfect, and that you know, putting all our energy, our art into that because it's our passion, and we just like, oh, we are on the path to develop something that we can branch to other form of entertainment, because my end goal is to be a film director and make movies more than comics, you know, as a creator. And video games, board games, it's all stuff that we want to explore as the Happy Thing company and really develop into a multimedia company. So knowing that our launch was this good and that we had some, of course, with those numbers of copies, we already have some monies coming in that we are thinking where we can invest and go. And it will be probably more licensed of comics because we want to focus on comics, of course, for the first years and not go like, oh, movies, video games, oh yeah, let's do a music label. You know, if we do that, we're going to fail because we will be on too much thing at the same time. But
yeah, you don't want to spread yourself too thin.
Yeah, totally. So right now we are looking to licenses to invest. Like I can say it because I'm like on Friday we have a press release for another license that's gonna drop. At the moment we record that. So it's an indie movie named Turbo Kids, which it's pretty cool series. There is a second one, Turbo Kid, that's gonna come out as a movie, and a video game's coming out in 2022. So we are the one doing the comics for the franchise. That's gonna be released in September. So that's our next titles. We are trying to do this like one creator-owned series and one license, and we all tend like that in our catalogs. So that's kind of, it's super fun to work on license. Stressful but fun. So
how do you when you license an IP? How do you reach out to the creators in regards to getting the comic done? Do you pretty much take a snapshot of what the creation is, what the series, the I guess the animated or the TV series or movie is, and then just translate that onto comics, or are they looking to put out original content? A little bit of both. It's really dependent of where they are with the franchise, what's their plans, and what's where they go. Because every franchise has stuff that is not understood most of the time when it's not something, you know, that did not release something for 30 years, for example. So when you start talking to them, you sign an NDA, and they're like, after they are like, oh, we got a video game coming up, we got a movie, so you cannot do that. Oh, okay, cool. So, and that's good news because it's mean that they are actively developing the franchise, and it's mean you're gonna sell more copies, so we're not against that. But it's just really depend on the size of the EPs, who is the creator behind, if they want to be involved or not. And all the time it's always send us a pitch, like what will be the series, the writer, the artist, what it will look like, and if they green light the pitch, after we go into production and they validate every step of the production, and once it's done, of course, it's a release and the magic happen if people connect with it or not. So that's that's pretty much how this works. No, it's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. If you guys can get your hands on the Mighty Max IP, let me know, because I need to write that.
Cool. That would be cool. Do you remember
that show?
Dude, I promise it. If we got it, you are the writer.
Hit me up, man, please. No, I remember that show. It was out. It was back in the 90s, but I think Marvel, for a moment in time, had the rights, I guess, to coincide with the toys that came out and the series. They were putting out like a weekly comic for a very short period of time. I don't know why that just popped into my head. That would be something dope.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm looking at Google Image right now.
You're trying to find it?
Really cool.
The only problem with that, because if you remember the series, the kid he got the power from a magical baseball hat, which we might have to tweak a little bit for nowadays, but you know, to make it a little bit more semi-realistic. Anyway, no, that's cool.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
The hat looked like a Trump hat.
So yeah, we can't have a big red hat. That's a no-no. And a little blonde kid. I don't know.
Right, that's kind of weird. But
You
yeah,
gotta switch it up.
I'm right now looking for those like Saturday morning cartoon stuff. I would really love to bring one to comics and have like this Saturday cartoon vibes into one books. So I'm at the moment actually contacting stuff like that. So I will for that one. Thank you for pointing
Yeah,
me out.
I mean, I think Mattel. I think back then, you know, all those '90s cartoons were all commercials for the toys to sell the toys. So Mattel might have had the IP. But anyway, yeah, let me know, man. That would be dope. What do you think so far? What's been your biggest, like, punch in the air moment? Like, yes, we fucking got it in comics.
Well, MFKZ for pre-order.
Huge, yeah.
That was insane. We like I said, we are right now in 1 month pre-order over 40,000 copies. Like 40000. So that's kind of pretty impressive, and I was not expecting that we do those numbers on our second number one. And I remember, like, to the printer, we said, like, oh, it's going to be like a 10, 15K, do that, 1,000 copies, do that code. And now we are like, yeah, we are more at 40,000. Maybe we're going to print 50 just to be sure that we got enough for our online sales and stuff like that. So it's crazy, and it still go up. So it's super fun. And of course, my own series just before that, Freak Snow did 15,000 copies sold for number one, which is
congrats.
Which, thank you. Which is same thing. I was not expecting those numbers. I was honestly thinking of 5,000-6,000 copies, which is already really good for like a first time creator,
quote unquote, on lesser known small press publisher creator. Those are good numbers. So 10, 15.
Yeah, it's actually like it's a small series at Image, for example, that does those numbers. So it's even like some metal series at Image will do 15,000 copies for number one. So that was kind of crazy that we got those numbers on this one. I was not expecting that as well. You know, we did put all our effort and stuff like that, but it's my first monthly series, you know, as a creator.
Well, that's huge. Well, I'm sure it's a combination of multiple things. I mean, you've been doing it for a while. You're with Behemoth now. Your marketing side of it, right? I'm sure all of these things came together and helped that series skyrocket. Did MFKZ, was that announced prior to that? Because I'm wondering, because you're obviously bringing a fan base over from there, obviously. So which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, what I did when we did announce Happy Thing, we did announce our first 3 titles, which was Freak Snow first, MFKZ second, and Simon third, and that was announced directly at the day that the previews pre-order of Freak Snow started. That was my plan. We announced the imprint with the 3 first titles when the first solicitation launched. So we had all eyes on the imprint in that first book. So I guess that was a good strategy for that one.
That's definitely a good strategy. I mean, it worked, right?
Right.
when you're coming up with the idea, it's just an idea. You put it into implementation, and you saw the result. It worked. That's a good strategy.
Right. And marketing, it's all about try and retry, you know. So you're never sure when you do something, but do it with confidence. It's gonna work. I mean, confidence is probably 80% of the success. I don't know what the 20 other one is. Probably there is some split of real talent, if it does exist, and marketing for like the other 15, because I think confidence will bring you the marketing. But if you say to people that your book is the best in the world, it's gonna be the best in the world. Of course, when I say best in the world, it sounds huge and really pretentious, but I mean that if you tell people it's great, it's gonna be great for people, or most of them, you know, and show the confidence in your love and your passion for comics when you release something. Don't be like, I hope you like it. That's the worst. That's the worst sentence you can say to someone. It's say we did put all our effort, passion, and art in this book. I know we did something great. You're going to sell a ton of copies because people love confidence. They are convinced by confidence. That's part of the marketing. And that's why Todd McFarlane is at the top for now, I don't know, like 100 years. It's because that guy is the most confident guy in comics. And that's why I'm a Rob Liefeld fan. Even if everyone is a hater and say shits, that guy is confident. That guy is super confident with shit. He will never stop promoting. He will never stop. And he's going to sell. He do great numbers, and everyone ate them. And so there's a problem somewhere. And And the same thing for politics. For example, I won't go in politics, but there is always like the masses that doesn't speak, and it's the same thing with social media in creation. The biggest masses doesn't speak and won't express if they love you or they love someone on social media because, well, it's not everyone that have time or want to comment that or want to drop a like. Like, even if you post something on social media and there is no like, there is people that saw your post. And it doesn't mean that they don't like you. It just no one has the same interaction with their phones in same habits of liking everything or commenting everything. It's not everyone is like that. Doesn't mean that they don't love you as much and they don't buy your stuff. So being confident, just show those person that are not interacting that you are the best. And show them that you are the best and you believe that you are the best and that you did your best with your IP. And that's super important. And don't just like look at the 3 comments you get per post. That's not the masses on your property. That's not the masses, you know. The masses doesn't speak. And that's important that you speak for them.
Well said, though. Self-belief is huge, man. Talking things that you want to get done into existence, you know, doing the work. But then it's kind of like that whole The Secret, right? You just want it to happen, put your best foot forward, have that belief in you, because if you're not going to be your biggest cheerleader, the guy on the street, the head of the CEO of this publishing company is not going to be it for you. You have to get out there and you have to do it yourself.
Right, show that you love yourself, that you believe in yourself, because I think self-love is believing in yourself, and show that you love what you created. That thing is your baby. so it's important that you show that you love your baby, that you give him some drinks, you know, and everything, because well, that did come out of you, it's some sort. So it's important that you show people that you care about it. Because if you don't show that you care about it, why would they care?
Why would they care? Yeah, no, 110%, man. Well said. Did you ever, I guess in the years you've been doing it, was there a failure that almost pushed you out of the industry that made you just want to quit?
Well, my first publishing company, we did lose like $30,000 something of overprinting. That was the biggest issue we did. We were printing huge print run to have the best price, but without the distribution that was needed to actually distribute those books. So at some point, you just sit on those thousands of dollars that you did, and you're stuck with it. But that's probably the biggest amateur thing that any person starting in self-publishing will do, and starting in publishing, you will print too much book. I think everyone did it at some point. Maybe you did not, but I think everyone I know did it.
I have boxes. I can bring out stacks of books.
There you go.
I have my computer monitor on a stack of books here too. So they're everywhere.
Yeah, so we all did that mistake when we start. And the second mistake that I think we all did, and we will probably come from that, we fucked up on our first Kickstarter shipping. That's a nightmare. Actually, I did that. I think I did lose like $2,000 on shipping on Kickstarter because I did not evaluate it. And I'm someone that's kind of a mess. So I was like, oh, $20 gonna be fine. So without research, and that's why I work with other people as well. So and that's something important. I know I'm just pitching ideas since forever, but now in that conversation,
good advice. I like hearing it.
And something important is, like I said first, put aside your fucking ego. Like, you're gonna fail all the fucking time, and that's right. That's important that you fail if you want to be successful as a creator and as an entrepreneur. And once something important, when you're gonna put aside your ego, you will see your flaws. And when you see your flaws, find people that this thing is actually what they're good at, and partner with them. Oh, if you are bad at graphic design, find an artist that is good at it. If you're bad at writing action scene, work with an artist that is actually good at action scene. You could just write like, hey man, you're in your script like page 7 to 10. You are free to do whatever you want with the action scene because I'm bad at action scene. Make our characters shine. And that's all you should work with your artist. Pair with artists that make sense at what you're bad as a writer, because we're not good at everything as a writer. For example, for me, I'm good with the initial ideas and the weird stuff and the story aspect of it. That's where I'm good at it. That's where everyone tell me I'm good at. It's where I think I'm good at. I will say where I think I'm good at. And after that, structuring the ideas and making the pacing of the stories, I'm really good. But when it's come to like action scene or dialogue and stuff like that, I prefer to have someone help me out and have an editor that will say, oh, Kevin, maybe you should write this. Or the artist that, and I trust my artist. Most of the time I say, do whatever you think is best for the book. Because the artist is the one that draw, is the one that know all you draw. You won't tell the artist all to draw is fucking style, you know. So it's important to trust your artist and just let them do what you're good at. So, okay, Rob, you want to do that page like that? Do it like that. And I know it's going to be the best that we can pull up because that's your intention and that's all your skills works. So it's important to find collaborators that that knows their flaws and knows what you're good at, and you just work like that. Same thing creatively. Like if you suck at marketing, well, maybe think about, and I know I don't want to judge any financial situation of anyone, but for example, you buy 20 Starbucks coffee per week. Well, it's like for $40 per week. Well, invest that in marketing if you suck at marketing, and stop drinking that Starbucks coffee and just buy something at home that you can coffee at home. You know, just rethink your financials at some point. I know that when you start as a creator, you have no money. Like I've been lucky that I was an entrepreneur and I had some fun to help me grow up, but at some point I was nearly bankrupt. I had my friend that is an accountant that didn't loan me some money to help me because I was going bankrupt with comics because I was making stupid stuff. So that's part of the game, but it's really important to actually budget yourself, and not just in comics. You know, I know you're going to budget your page, you're going to budget your script, you're going to budget your printing and stuff like that, but think that budget is actually more than that. It's actually the food you buy. It's actually the drink you drink at the bar. It's actually the 3 times that you go to the theater and you buy $20 popcorn, you know, in the week. Now you are at for example, at $200 that you could not spend and still live your life, maybe without like this instant happiness that those things give you. I do agree. I love popcorn at the cinema, but that shit is way too expensive when you have dreams that you can invest in. So it's really important that you check your flaws. I'm bad at marketing. I'm bad at actually making PR. I'm bad at I don't know at making action scenes. So I need an artist to work with artists that is maybe $20 more expensive per page, but I know that will complete that flaw that I have that the current artist doesn't have. So that's where I think that the success of someone in comics creatively start. It's understanding what you suck at and what you're good at.
And having no ego. I think you said that several times.
Yeah, it's all
having
about
no
that.
ego, right? Yeah, and being willing to give your collaborators their creative freedom to flex their creative muscles and make the best book that you guys can make. So it starts from the writer. I think if you have a writer who's an asshole who's going to be really tight and strict and stay on script, then you know it's going to set the tone for the story, and it might succeed, but it might fail, and it's not going to be a fun working environment. So that's, you know, that's a huge rule. So when you first get the idea for a story, I mean, we've been going back and forth and you've given little tidbits, but say you just had an idea today for a story that you want to see to fruition and publish next year in 2022. Like, what's the first step with fleshing the story out and ending in writing the script?
All I work I'm really bad at writing, actually. So I mean, I'm not the best to give advice at writing because I write really weirdly. Because
I just want to hear your process.
Yeah, I work like a film editor. I will say in the process of creating something, I do write the script, I do write everything, but I'm not a creator with my creative, so that's why I need to work with people that really understand that they're getting something in a mass with me. For example, for that book, the first Freak Snow one, that's a saying actually that I did actually fucked up, so that's why I got that copy with me. So, for example, for Freak Snow, that book was released with 78 pages, but I think that we have probably like 85 or 90 pages that was done, but I do all my editing, and most of the thing. And at first, that was a one-shot of 20 pages. The first script was just that, and I have like 50 versions of the script. I'm just crazy. And I said to Rob at some point, well, it's not gonna be 24 pages anymore. It's gonna be a graphic novel, because I think that we're gonna put there at that place 20 more pages because we gotta have this development, because I have think that this is the metaphor is now better, because I'm really influenced by filmmakers. Like my true passion is cinema. I watch a movie per day. Right now I sleep on them, but that's one of my thing I do. I watch a movie per day. That's really important for me. I cannot live without having a movie in my face at least once a day. Sometimes when I wake up at 5, what I do is 5 to 7 is actually a movie, and after I work, because cinema is my passion. And most of my friends are filmmakers like Terrence Malick, Nicholas Winding Refn, Gaspar Noé. They're not the most known guys, but I love those artsy weird guys. Sure. And Terrence Malick doesn't write script. He just goes somewhere with actors for 6 months with a camera and shoot and say to the actors, talk together and build a story. And that's pretty much all I work for story. I know it's so fucking not clear what I'm saying right now, but
no, it's clear. I mean, I don't know if it'd be a good final product, but who am I? I'd have to see it. I don't know. I'm sure he can, if he's a master at what he wants to do, and he's doing what is passionate for him. Who are we to say it's good or not?
So for me, what we do is actually I do like a first script version that has like a minimal number of pages that we put together, and after I print those pages, I put it on the wall right here, and I do a puzzle, and I say what's missing, what's the missing link in those things, because I'm obsessed with plot holes and stuff like that, and I'm just like, okay, we're gonna put that, and I'm gonna put that, and after I go with a second script, which is where we complete the masterpiece. and once I did my puzzle on the walls, or sometimes posted, like you see posted there, it's just me building some stuff. I really work a lot with post-it, and that's all I put on story.
Index cards, post-its.
Because because the first step I do is actually, and probably you do the same thing because you work with post-it, I do like like dots for every page, like page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and that's, I just write one line of what's happened there. And that's my bull of the books before going to script. And after I go in those crazy director's cut type of shit, I expand the book. And that first one, I think the expansion of that book was more due to stress. I was really stressed, released my first graphic novel as a creator, and I just did go crazy and really crazy. I think I might have done like some depression and shit with that book. I don't know, but I did just go crazy and really wanted to do a masterpiece. And I'm super happy with it. I think it could not have done something better. And the critic, the readers did love it. And when I go on a podcast with someone and did read it, we can talk for 2 hours of all the metaphor and shit we did put into it. And that's something that there was one reviewer that said this comics is art and not a comic book, and that's kind of the biggest compliment I can say to someone. So if someone has been so stressed about that book while creating it and always making 50 versions of it and changing everything and being sure that it is perfect, that was kind of the biggest compliment I can say to someone that has been that stage. But yeah, it's go back to trust yourself and be confident, I guess, of what you're doing. And I'm not the most confident person as well. I just said I was so stressed that I did 50 versions of a book. But at the end, you can be stressed in the process, because I think stress brings you to think even more and put out the best product. That's part of creating something, to be stressed and not confident while you're in the process. But stress is more like a moment of not confidence. It's not like on the journey you're not confident.
Yeah, it's just, it forces you to overthink and think of these plot holes and fill the gaps. And insert a callback in the end that you added to the beginning, and just play around. So your bullet points for your pages that you do prior to script, would you say that these bullet points are going to be your outline? So before you go into the script, do you have, 30, 40, 50 bullet points that you're going to then take and say, all right, this is my Bible, this is my story Bible, this is what I'm going to work off of when I start writing the script? It's essentially how you're working. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. And after I go with my director's cut for freakiness, But yeah, I think it's really important to not be afraid to go in dark zone as well. Like when I write, if you want something good, don't be on the surface of your brain. Go where is your pain, like your deepest pain in your life. Like for example, your father did die when you were super young. Don't be afraid to go into that if you want to be a good writer.
You have
If
to.
you and of course, happiness moment. What was the moment that you were the most happy? You know, it's the same thing for. I think that writing is like acting. When you look to an actor and they ask them the question, "Oh, did you cry?" Well, the actor will say, "I was not thinking of the scene, what was happening with the characters, and I don't give a shit. I'm not affected. That's fiction. But I was thinking what my father died 2 years ago of cancer, for example." And that's the same thing with writing a story. You need to go and do those deep moments that will put you in stress because you're sharing your personal thought. You know, I think that when you read a book of someone, and you can actually understand the life of someone if you go really into analytic and stuff like that. And that's
Yeah.
what make a book interesting. If you stay in
No, I
surface and
agree.
you're just like punching bad guys and stuff like that, it's won't be good, and it's not your book at some point because you did not put your blood into those pages. And
Yeah,
I
you
think
have to
that's
put your
something.
pain and your tears and your happiness all into it to create an
Yeah,
empathetic character or sympathetic character, create empathy in your character to make you read the book and fall in love and feel that character's pain. You have to hit things that you're pulling out of your heart and pouring onto the page. And a lot of times it's things that you, I, everybody, your readers can relate to. You know, the pain
totally.
of loss, the pain of love, suffering, love lost, heartbreak. These are all things that you need to learn, and you'll learn as you do it and get better at it, but you need to learn how to harness as you're in there writing the character. You need to make it real. You need to hit these points home. And if you can do that as a writer, I mean, that's the game, right? That's the
Right.
game.
And we live in a cliche world, so we all have our the same pain at some point. If we go deepest, for example, you have an heartbreak that if you're heterosexual, gay, or whatever your orientation, it's still an heartbreak, you know.
Yeah.
So
Everybody can relate to it.
it's the
It,
same
it
thing.
knows no boundary.
The death of someone is the same thing. So is don't be afraid to share it, because anyone will relate. We're all human beings. You're not selling your book to Martian, you know.
Yeah. No, you can't be afraid. I mean, unless you want a gray book with no, heart
Right.
underlying it, you gotta pour your soul out. You gotta poke your heart and fill your pen with the ink that is your blood. Kevin, thank you for joining me, man. Let me know what you have next on the horizon.
Thank you, dude. It was a pleasure. That's the.
We'll
I
do it
guess you will
again,
put
man.
like. Yeah, man, that was a pleasure, and I will put a little dance at the end just for you.
Thank you.
So what's coming on next? I have the new Freak Snow series, which is it's a totally standalone. It's not related to this one. So if you did not read the first one, that's not a problem. You can jump into it, and if you did read this one, you're gonna enjoy it even more. So it's right now in the Craves catalog. The first one is out May 26th, and after it's monthly, always the last Wednesday of the month. For it's a 4 issues mini series, and of course, go see Happy Thing website happything.co that we have all our pre-release books every month. Second release is June 23 with MFKZ #1, Cinnamon #1 in July, and after we come back in September with Turbo Kids #1, which is the adaptation of the movie and video game.
That's gonna be big, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys grow. Happy Tank taking over the world. Thanks again for joining me, buddy.
Pleasure.